everyone, and welcome to Political Capital. Another week and all the best in BC politics and the never-ending, ongoing federal election, including with a leaders debate, the English leaders debate this week, which we're going to get into and talk about as well. I'm going to bring the panel in, but just remind you, if you're on Check Plus, you're on YouTube, you're on Google Times or whatever. We're everywhere you need to be on the audio portion, the video portion, Sundays at 6:30 on Check. But try the app. The app is good. And we've got all the previous episodes of the show on the app as well if you want to catch up on that. Let's bring in the panel, get right to it. Jillian Oliver, Green Strategist Extraordinaire, is here again this week. Hello, Jillian.
Hey, Rob. Great to be back.
Katy Merrifield, Vice President, Wellington Advocacy. Hello, Katy.
And Strategist Extraordinaire. Happy to be here. Thanks,
Strategist Extraordinaire. Also missing Strategist Extraordinaire McLean K, off being extraordinaire somewhere else this week. I'm sure he'll be back once he's dealt with his legal troubles. Moving on to the vaccine passport issue. We're going to start on BC politics, and then we're going to go to federal politics. Vaccine passports launched in British Columbia in terms of a press conference revealing the details on Tuesday. This idea that you will need some type of vaccine card to get into a restaurant, movie theater, gym, concert, sporting event, or other non-essential service starting September 13th. You can go online, try and get it with a QR code, which looks like a little box of static, or you can phone and order or print off a print version of it. So how do we think this went, I guess? The launch of this, the idea behind it, however it might be received by the public. Katy, why don't we start with you on that?
Yeah, let's talk about the launch. So, I tried on the first day. There was a 5-hour wait. I was angry. I was frustrated, thought about tweeting, didn't. And then I just, chilled out, tried yesterday and got it immediately. So my negative feelings went away personally. However, as of yesterday, I believe you still couldn't print out a paper copy or save it to your phone or save the card to your phone. You could only take a screenshot. And so I think of the elderly or those who are, a little bit more technologically insufficient, they may have troubles with that. But at the end of the day, government is quite literally allergic to technology. I think back in, it was 2015, 2016, around under the BC Liberals, we had challenges with the MCFD, integrated case management system. We had challenges with the Justice system for law enforcement. I really think the Auditor General said it best in 2016. Carol Bellringer said the bigger IT projects are, the more likely they are to go wrong. And so at the end of the day for this one, I'm glad that there was a significant lead time to obtain the QR code. And yeah, I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say.
I didn't have a problem personally with it. I mean, there was the wait time. There isn't a wait time 2 days later for it, but I can imagine if you're not comfortable with it, or especially I think older viewers who will be probably trying to phone the phone number to get a copy, that it might be an issue to put everything on the old interwebs and have to navigate the information superhighway. But I don't know. What did you think, Jillian?
Yeah, I think it's, like everything with the pandemic, there's heightened anxiety around it. People are nervous. They know that they're going to need this to do a lot of the things that they want to do. So, the stakes are high. I did hear about other problems. I have a friend who got her second dose at a walk-in clinic, and that is not showing up. And she called the hotline. They don't know when that's going to be fixed. So it's stressful for people. She's going to be worrying about that for the next couple of weeks. That said, whether it's government, whether it's a new video game, any kind of new technology, when it does a soft launch, there's usually hiccups, and that's why they do soft launches, so they can iron it out. But I think it's really important that the government does iron them out, obviously, because the uptake of this and the implementation is going to be crucial to its success. Right now, it's really popular, but it might not stay that way if people can't actually use it effectively.
Yeah, but I think we've got a third of the people who are kind of eligible have already accessed their vaccine card, which seems like pretty good uptake in the first 3 days or so. But what about, let's go around again and talk about how this kind of rubber meets the road, the idea. So assuming you get your card and that all works out, starting on Monday, you have to show it and a business has to accept it. And I assume there'll be some type of protest or kerfuffle about that based on what we've seen the last few weeks. Jillian, back to you. How do we think this is going to go? And is there anything government should have done or additionally had in place to, it's fine to get the card, but then what? Are we missing an element there, do you think?
I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the enforcement goes. There's a wide range of different types of officials that can enforce this, from cannabis officers to liquor inspectors to conservation officers. So it's going to be interesting to see how the support goes, because talking to people that work in the service industry, they're really anxious about this. Um, People, there was lots of confrontations when the mask mandate went in. I think this is going to be even more difficult, because you can't just have masks at the door and hand it to them. It's a very different thing. So yeah, I mean, on the other hand, though, I don't think there's going to be a lot of sympathy. Like, again, this is extremely popular. Like, the vast majority of people are vaccinated. They support this. They want to get on with being able to access these services. And we're starting to see reports as well of how the strain of unvaccinated COVID patients is affecting other people's ability to access healthcare. So I think that while there might be some pushbacks and some flare-ups that unfortunately will fall onto service workers, I think that hopefully people that are choosing to remain unvaccinated are going to recognize that that is not an appropriate thing to do.
Yeah, Adrian Dix, the health minister, mentioning that our ICU cases are up to the point now where they're having to cancel some elective surgeries in different hospitals.
Yeah.
That we're sort of starting to hit that crunch point with cases that are mainly unvaccinated people in intensive care. I think it's 86% of folks, and that maybe this is the right move at the right time. I don't know. But Katy, back to the idea of, are we missing an element in the rollout here that once you get your card, should government be doing more or helping these businesses in some cases?
I completely agree with Jillian on the enforcement side. Like, it shouldn't be the responsibility of a 22-year-old server at Earl's to if somebody is up in your face, like refusing to show the vaccine card, it shouldn't be their fault to escort them from the premises. Dr. Henry did say, in true fashion, be kind, be calm, be safe. Hopefully the first call isn't to the police. We need to have some mitigating strategies here. But I'm curious, I think we need a little bit more specifics there. I just want to ensure that small businesses are provided with everything that they need in order to execute this effectively and efficiently and keep their staff safe. I also think going forward, there could be a challenge. Like, what if like a scanning system at a small business goes down? Are they going to accept visual proof? Like, it is pretty kind of obvious. Like, I think the way that the vaccination card has been designed, it's rather evident if you've had a partial, full vaccination or none. Hopefully visual proof will be enough should there be any technical challenges with the scanning itself. I have a question for the group, and I probably should know the answer.
Wait a second, that's my job.
Let me know. Yeah. So if you're 19 and over, you have to show your vaccine, proof of vaccination along with your driver's license. But if people don't want to carry their wallets around everywhere, you just want to have your phone, can you take a picture of your driver's license and just show your proof of vaccination and a photo of your driver's license, or does it actually need to be the physical copy? It's a good question.
Think you need to show the physical copy? I mean, when I asked Dr. Henry at the press conference, like, well, what happens if at the doorstep everything goes wrong, the scanner fails and all this stuff happens? And she was like, well, they'll just take a look at things and just let you through, basically. So I think hopefully there might be a default there that if you don't have the right format of your card and your ID, that they just say, come on in. But I don't know. I've never had that question. Jillian, what's your best guess?
I would say that probably they would require the actual physical thing. Like, that's how IDing works in general. But I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah.
Someone should ask. Yeah.
I don't think you can.
It's like when I run across to the gym, I don't bring my wallet. I don't bring my driver's license,
I don't think you can put your driver's license in your Apple Wallet on the phone, the same way that you can with your bank cards and whatever. Maybe we should get to that. And then it's weird because there is a health app for government. It's the services card app, which you have to authenticate yourself with a video. It becomes a piece of ID. It's this very secure app. And you can use it to help get the card, but you can't save the card in it, so that it would be like primary identification as well. It's just a little, I guess it was too technical, but there, I guess the government just went with the easiest way to do it. So it's interesting. I think I have seen already discussion online and some advisories going out that there are going to be more protests against both the vaccine card and vaccinations in general next week outside of healthcare facilities. If you're watching the show, please don't protest outside a
Yeah.
hospital. That's god awful thing to do for the people
Yeah.
there, receiving services, visiting loved ones, working. Like, respect your opinion, even on vaccines. Just do it somewhere else. Go to the legislature law and, an MLA's office if you have to, but don't go to a hospital, please. That's my appeal to you there. Let's
Yeah. Go to your NDP constituency office so the CAs can get the danger pay that they've been asking for. Sorry, I know.
That's it. Well, it's not. It is traumatic for them too, I think. But at least that's part of our democratic. At least they expect it versus some
Yeah.
nurse walking into the emergency room who's
Oh
getting
yeah, that's
spit
disgusting.
on by somebody in Nanaimo, which was sad. Let's switch topics here federally now to the federal leaders debate. It was the only English language debate. It was Thursday night. Let's kind of start with just general thoughts and impressions on how we thought it went. It was 2 hours long. There was a very tight format to it, which we can hit on if anyone wants to talk about that. Katy, you want to go first?
Yeah, so harkening back to Wednesday when we did BC Poly Live, this was one of the questions, and all of us really had advice for the three leaders. So for me, for Trudeau, I said, you've got to have a tone and approach of humility and effectively articulate why we're having this election. Tone and approach, oh my. We can blame the format or any other circumstances, but I found him to come off really hostile, also very frustrated, rather jumpy. And in terms of the justification for the election, it's a real head scratcher for me. He said, we have to do this so we can finish the fight against COVID. I know you want to go harder and faster with vaccinations, and you can do that with this election. No, like we could have gone harder and faster with vaccinations without this election just fine. So I found that justification an F as far as I'm concerned. O'Toole, I said go hard in the leadership section on foreign affairs, and he did just that. I think he successfully called the Liberals out on their failures with regards to the two Michaels, the Uyghur genocide, Afghanistan, and quite frankly, O'Toole came off as cool, calm, and collected throughout the entire debate. I wouldn't say necessarily he won, but I think that he really demonstrated strong leadership throughout the entire course of the 2 hours. With Singh, I said, just ignore everyone else on stage, attack Trudeau and be his foil on trust and authenticity and the true voice of progressives. I think he tried to do that. I found him like a lot more combative than I've ever seen, but I think I'm just accustomed to seeing this like really kind, soft, compassionate side of Jagmeet, but he and Trudeau just really got into it on a couple occasions, which I found interesting. For me, the highlight was Annamie Paul, specifically naming, Jody, Jane, and Selena to highlight Trudeau's feminist qualifications, and him coming back with that kind of dismissive comment about caucus management. That was really the high point for me.
Yeah,
but I have
well.
lots more to say on this. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jillian, what do you think of I guess the Greens, but then also just the whole thing?
Yeah, I agree. I think Annamie Paul did. It was a big moment of vindication for her. I think that it shows her team decided to make the debate a focus of their strategy. She was really well prepared. Her tone was excellent. She looked like someone that you want to see in Parliament. I think she really demonstrated that she would be a valuable voice to have there. And I think that that's a really smart strategy. We saw when I was running the BC Greens campaign that we got a big boost from the debate after Sonia Furstenau's strong performance. And, you really see like voters in Toronto Centre are the only people that are actually going to be able to vote for Annamie Paul, like literally on the ballot. And often you see sort of this swell of local pride for Green leaders. You saw this with Andrew Weaver, that his vote share increased after he did the leaders debate in 2017. Saw it for Elizabeth May as well after she ran in her second campaign and after she started appearing in debates. So I think it was a good strategy. I think she did really well, and I think that it's on the table that she could potentially win that seat. I think that O'Toole and Singh both did really good jobs of prosecuting the Liberal record, but I don't know if either of them did a great job of selling themselves. Singh in particular, I think he had some really good sound bites, but he didn't do much to sort of overcome this notion that he's more style than substance. He didn't have great answers for some tough questions about the platform, especially there was a question on, he's running strong on addressing the housing crisis. He didn't have a good answer for does he want housing prices to go down. Yeah, and I think O'Toole was good but not great. I don't think that this like slows his momentum, but I don't think that it kind of pushes it forward either. Trudeau, I agree mostly with Katy's assessment. He did come off as pretty combative. Voters might kind of, it's hard to say. We'll see in the polls how they're going to respond to that. Sometimes voters like that, that it can actually convey like a sense of strong leadership. So we'll see. I'm not sure what to make of that one.
It's interesting. I felt like Trudeau was looking to create a moment that would build off of having gravel thrown at him, fighting the protesters, using them as a foil, dunking on Rebel News, which he did in a spectacular way the day before. He felt like he had this kind of path where if he managed to really hit a high point in the debate, he could come out of it on fire. And I sort of watched him. It felt like he got frustrated maybe by the format or whatever, and he came off hot on issues he probably shouldn't have been hot on, and was sort of off brand for Trudeau, which I thought was kind of interesting. He needed to be, I think, to borrow some of the analysis that's out there, he needed to be an 11, and he was a 6. Whereas O'Toole, he only needed to be a 6 to convince people he wasn't the boogeyman, and he probably nailed a 6. He was more kind of milkman than boogeyman. I'm not sure that actually works, but milkman he was calm and he was not threatening. But again, Jillian, I liked your point that no one, like the NDP struggled to make some of their platform policies clear because they didn't have enough time. Nobody had enough time. You have 5 seconds to respond. And, the NDP's whole line about taxing the rich to give a little more to everyone else, I only heard it a couple of times. It's like nothing was able to be used in the way that anyone wanted to use it in the format, and covering like 30 topics in 2 hours. It was 10 seconds here and 5 seconds there. It was hard to get substance out of it, I thought. But now that it's done, let's just go around quickly again. What happens next, do you think? If you're looking at the leaders in the campaigns, where do they go from this? Can they use any of it as we get into this kind of weekend where advanced polls are open, mail-in ballots are probably out there? Where do we go from here, Jillian?
I think whatever momentum they managed to glean, I think probably for the opposition leaders, for saying O'Toole and Paul, they really need to sort of push forward and demonstrate that they do have momentum coming out of the debate, and just, continue to sort of, tie the bow on their message at this point, and really just go hard for the last leg of the journey. I think for Trudeau, it's a little different. They need to do more somehow. I don't know how. Like, he needs to have another moment. Like the Rebel moment was good. I'm sure they're pushing that out as much as they can. I think he needs to really solidify what he wants the ballot question to be, and to make that really succinct for voters. I don't think that they've done that yet, and they're running out of time. So we'll see.
It's amazing this far into the campaign to still not be able to advance the ballot question, and amazing that we barely spent any time on COVID in that whole debate, and yet that theoretically maybe is what the whole election possibly is about. I don't know, Katy. What happens next? Where does everybody go with this?
Yeah, so I said earlier this week, with only 9 or 10 days to go after the English debate, like there is no time to recover if you swing and miss, and I believe that to be absolutely true. I think what you are going, like the Liberals have not had momentum this entire campaign. There was a brief spell where they got the Conservatives on their heels over the gun question, but this had to be that turning point, and it was not. So now what they are going to do is go absolutely whole hog negative for the next 10 days. And I don't think they'll go after O'Toole specifically. I think they go after the Conservative brand. I think you are going to see Harper's legacy, Kenney, Ford. They are going to like push out as much as possible to try and demonize O'Toole through those sorts of attacks. In terms of the NDP, so I think that Singh has been quite negative throughout this campaign, which I don't necessarily disagree with. And I think that really came to a head in the debate last night. If I were the NDP, I would kind of switch and return to the softer side. Like, this is our plan. This is how it's different than the Liberals. We know, like, because the Liberals are going to go negative, he should go positive. And then for the Conservatives, honestly, like, it's GOTV time. They just need to focus on keeping O'Toole at the same level, like that creeping momentum he's had the entire time, and start asserting where are safe seats, where are the swings that we need to allocate more resources, and where do we cut our losses.
Yeah, it's going to be I think you're right. It's going to be a very negative final week of the campaign because
Hmm.
negative works. It's proven to work in some cases. Fear, is this incredible motivating factor,
Yeah.
especially in an election like this where we don't even know what it's about. So it better scare people into doing something. Very quickly, we got a minute and a half here. Let's go around and just do the hot take here, which is who we thought won the election debate, but maybe from a perspective of, like just who gained the most out of it, I guess. Who comes out of it as with something tangible that they can use in a way. Maybe not that they're going to win the election or whatever, but just kind of who comes out of it with a positive. Katy?
So, since last night, Trudeau has attacked the moderator, the debate format, and the question surrounding Bill 21. For me, Annamie Paul was by far the most impressive. I thought she just nailed it. She had the best lines. But because Trudeau lost and O'Toole held his own, I would peg O'Toole as the one who made the best impression.
Okay. Jillian?
I'm going to say just in terms of political fortunes, I think Annamie Paul won because I think, like I said, I think that this puts it on the table that she could win her riding, and that's really her only chance for survival in politics. For the rest, O'Toole, even if he's not leader after this, he could still be an MP. I think just with the stakes and where she was before the debate happened to where she is after, I think Paul came out on top.
Yeah, it's amazing to think that. I mean, I guess it's part of the reality of, especially if you don't have anything to lose in a debate, you have nowhere to go but up. But I think she did well on her merits as well, just as a candidate, speaking well and making her points and attacking the other leaders. So for sure, definitely a victor in this debate. We will be back with Political Capital next week, just on the eve of the federal election. So we'll chat with you a bit more about that and all the latest in BC politics and your federal election news here. Thanks so much for listening, and we will see you next week.